Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Going the Distance. This is episode 40. Can you believe we've done 40 episodes? I can't, but I want to welcome the new members who are just joining us for the first time, and I want to welcome back the members who've been joining us from the beginning. So if you haven't done so yet, I'd like for you to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and hit the notification bell to get all of your episodes the minute I download them, and comment on the video. Comment your thoughts, comment your picks on the NFL week, because we're going to do predictions this week. We got scores and predictions. We have some football news. We've got some NASCAR news. We got some music news. So we got a lot to get into on this 40th episode. Again, can't believe we've done 40 of them. So let's jump in. So first off, I want to talk about the 49ers and Trent Williams. He signed a deal with them a few years ago, a contract extension. Well, now he's agreed to restructure his contract to bring some of the newer players in, sign some of the rookies, and I think that kind of helped with the Brandon Ayuk trade, or not trade, but the Brandon Ayuk signing. And so that's a 3-year, $82.66 million deal. I know that sounds like a lot, and it is a lot, but the man can play. So he really I think he deserves that money. In fact, I think it needs to be more years than just 3 years, but maybe that's all they could do for him right now. I don't know. But speaking of the 49ers and Brandon Ayuk, as we talked about last week, Brandon signed a contract extension with the 49ers. Well, it came to light this week, it was reported, that the day Brandon Ayuk signed his contract with the 49ers, there was already a trade in the works with Pittsburgh to acquire Brandon. So what they had to do, they brought Brandon into the stadium early. He came early into the stadium. And Kyle Shanahan and the owners sat with him, talked with him for 2 hours. And after that, came up to the contract agreement. So I believe that was Kyle Shanahan that was doing all that. So he had to run to the owners and say, no, he's agreed to his contract. Don't trade him to Pittsburgh. And I'm thrilled that he didn't get traded to Pittsburgh. And he stayed with the 49ers because he has been one of the playmakers for the 49ers. It's been Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey, and Brandon Ayuk. Well, we're going to get into this when we get into the scores. I'm going to give you all of them. But it was a game-time decision Monday night that Christian McCaffrey did not play in the season opener against the Jets with a calf injury. But we'll get to that prediction later, and or get to that score later. But I wanted to let you guys know that he didn't play. And honestly, they didn't need him that night. But they were playing the Jets, so, there's that. So moving on from the 49ers, we're going to talk a little bit about the Dallas Cowboys and Dak Prescott. Well, as everybody knows, that follows football knows that Dak Prescott is in a contract year, which means he's in the last year of his contract, so he plays that deal out, and then he either signs a massive deal or he tests the free agency market. So everybody was saying, oh, he'll test the free agency market and, this, that, and everything else. Well, y'all, I'm here to tell you, he's not testing the free agency market, because hours before the Dallas Cowboys game, actually it was right before pregame on Sunday, Dak Prescott became the highest paid quarterback in the NFL with a 4-year, $240 million contract with $231 million guaranteed. So, going out playing the Browns, several hours later, do you think he was a little anxious to get out there and prove to everybody that he deserves this 4-year, $240 million contract? I think he did. And I think he proved himself. And I'll show that again in the score highlights. So now we're going to move on to Miami and Tyreek Hill. Well, Tyreek Hill's been one of their big wide receivers with Jalen Waddle. So they played in Jacksonville on Sunday. Miami did, the Dolphins. And hours before the Jaguars game, Tyreek Hill was driving to the stadium, as all the players do. Drive to the stadium. Sorry, y'all, had to yawn there. He was driving to the stadium, and he got pulled over by police for a traffic violation. Well, then video surfaced that he was arrested for this violation. So everybody was thinking, is he going to play? Well, he ended up playing. He was arrested and released by the police on this traffic violation. We don't know what the violation was. Was it a red light? Was he speeding? Nobody knows. So he ended up playing, and I'll give you his stats here in a few minutes. So that was all the news. So now we're going to move into some scores. So now we're going to start with college football because we had some good games this week, and I'm going to highlight some of them. So first we're going to start with the number one team in the country, Georgia. They defeated Tennessee Tech 48-3. I'm not surprised. Georgia has been to the national championship 2 years in a row. They missed it last year, but as we talked about when the national championship game came around, they couldn't let Alabama not be in the national championship game or be in the playoffs because it was Nick Saban's last year. But I think Georgia is going to be another contender. I think they're going to make a run at the playoffs, make a run at the national championship, and Georgia's my football team, my college football team. So they defeated Tennessee 48-3. The number 2 team in the country, Ohio State, defeated Western Michigan 56-0. So I'm not surprised because Western Michigan has never been one of those big teams to, do anything. So that was an easy win. Michigan State defeated Maryland 27-24, so go Michigan State. That was actually a hard-fought game, y'all. I saw the highlights. It really did. It really was a hard-fought game. East Carolina defeated Old Dominion 20-14, so go ECU. I love that. Texas defeated Michigan 31-12. That was kind of a shocker for me because even though I like both teams, I actually thought Michigan was going to put up a better fight than they did. But they absolutely sat there and let Texas not just beat them, steamroll over them. Like they had never been, looked like they had never been on a football field before. And then the head coach of Michigan, the new head coach of Michigan, gets a extension, or he signs his deal with Michigan to be the official head coach. So I don't quite know how I feel about that. I think right now it's still too soon, but we'll see how Michigan does. This might have just been their only loss. Alabama defeated Southern Florida 42-16. Tennessee, excuse me, guys, had to clear my throat there. Tennessee defeated NC State. Didn't just defeat them, annihilated them, 51-10. And Clemson defeats and annihilates Appalachian State 66-20. So let's see how these college games end this week. I know it's going to be a big week again because it's always a big week in football. There's a lot of things that happen. So now let's move into the scores for week 1 of the NFL. So on Thursday night, we had the Chiefs-Ravens game. And that was a game everybody was looking forward to because that was the game the Chiefs got to raise the Super Bowl banner. Well, they got to raise the banner and win the game. They defeated Chiefs defeated the Ravens 27-20. And I'm really not surprised. I thought Lamar could have done better. I thought the whole Baltimore team could have done better. But, I mean, they put up 20 points. So they kept up with them. But I hope this is not a year of, this is going to be the Chiefs' year. Because, honestly, there's teams out there that can beat the Chiefs. Look at last year with the Lions. So, the Lions beat the Chiefs in week 1. So, I hope this loss lights a fire up under Baltimore. And they can do good this season. And I hope the Chiefs I hope they're mediocre and just okay. So then on Friday, we had our first Friday game in the NFL. And it was in Brazil. And it was between the Eagles and the Packers. Well, the Eagles defeated the Packers 34-29. Now, I bring this up not only because it's week 1, but because if you guys remember, last week, or week before, we talked about Jordan Love signing his big extension with Green Bay to get his contract. Well, lo and behold, here we go. Jordan Love hurts his MCL and he's out for a few weeks. So Malik Willis, sorry y'all, gets to start for the Packers this week because Jordan Love is sidelined with an MCL injury. It plays out perfect, y'all. It plays out every year in Green Bay. It doesn't matter who the quarterback is. He's still going to get, one of them's still going to get hurt. So the Bears defeated the Titans 24-17, and this was Caleb Williams' first regular season game. And Caleb Williams was the number 1 overall pick this year in the draft. He went to Chicago. I see big things for Chicago this year. I see big things for Caleb Williams this year. They just need their offense needs to tighten up a little bit though. So the Patriots defeated the Bengals 16-10. Yes. That was a game I was really worried about, y'all, but we did it. We beat them. We beat Joe Burrow. Even though I like Burrow, this might have, he just takes a little while to get booted up. But my Patriots won, y'all. Sorry, y'all. You had to yawn again. So the Dolphins defeated the Jaguars 20-17. Now this game I've told you I was going to talk about because of Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill had 7 receptions for 130 yards and 1 touchdown. Yes, he's a great player. When he scored that touchdown, instead of doing a touchdown dance, he mocked what happened that morning and acted like he got arrested and he got off and this, that, and everything else. So, Dolphins defeated the Jags. The Saints defeated the Panthers 47-10. The Chargers defeated the Raiders 22-10, and this was Jim Harbaugh's first game as head coach of the Chargers. So I think there's going to be big things for the Chargers this year, and I think the Raiders need to find a new quarterback because Gardner Minshew didn't look that good. The Cowboys defeated the Browns 33-17, and this was Dak Prescott's first game with his new contract, and he had 179 yards and 1 touchdown. So go Dallas and go Prescott. Bills defeated the Cards 34-28. The Lions defeated the Rams 26-20 in overtime, and that was a fantastic game. That's a game right there that's meant for prime time right there. And to round out the week, on Monday night, we had the 49ers defeating the Jets 32-19. So now that we've done the scores for last week, let's talk about this week. And let's get some predictions in for this week. So for tonight's game, we have Bills at the Dolphins. I actually have the Bills winning this game. On Sunday, we have Saints-Cowboys, which is going to be a good one because as you guys just heard me say, the Saints and the Cowboys won big. They're playing in Dallas, so I actually have the Cowboys winning this game. But I expect this to be a really high-scoring game. We've got the Colts and the Packers. I have the Colts winning that game. Jets at Titans, I've got the Jets. 49ers, Vikings, I actually have the 49ers winning that game. Seahawks, Patriots, obviously I'm going with my Patriots. Chargers, at Panthers, I've got the Chargers. Browns, Jags, I actually have the Browns winning that game. Raiders, Ravens. Bucks, Lions, I've got the Lions. Redskins, Giants, Redskins. That's a division game too, by the way, so that's going to be a good one. I think the Redskins are going to win, but I think knowing it's a division game, both teams are going to be at a high level this week. Rams, Cardinals, I've got the Rams. Steelers, Broncos, and this is something I forgot to bring up from last week. I said that Russell Wilson was starting for the Pittsburgh Steelers, but he did not start with a calf injury, and Justin Fields started. So because Pittsburgh won last week, beat Atlanta, I believe that score was 18-10. This week, Russell Wilson sidelined again, and Justin Fields gets the start. But in this Steelers-Broncos game, I've got the Broncos. I just can't bring myself to pull for the Steelers. I can't even believe I had to think about it. So, Steelers-Broncos, I got Broncos. Bengals-Chiefs, woo-hoo! I have the Bengals winning this one, and I'll tell you why. Because Joe Burrow's got Patrick Mahomes' number. Joe Burrow is 3-1 against Patrick Mahomes. So, I've got the Bengals beating the Chiefs. And then Sunday night, this is going to be a good one, y'all. One I'm looking forward to, and I think everybody should watch this one, is the Bears-Texans. It's Caleb Williams versus C.J. Stroud. And with the Texans, you've got Stroud, you've got Joe Mixon, you've got Stephon Diggs. So that's going to be a good one. And then Monday night, we have Falcons-Eagles. I actually have the Eagles winning that game. So I'll give you guys the scores and the prediction scores for week 2 next week, and we'll do week 3 predictions next week. So now we're going to move into NASCAR. And this week we started the chase, and we started the chase in Atlanta. And we had Crybaby Logano win the race this week. Suarez came in 2nd, Blaney 3rd, Bell 4th, Bowman 5th. We had Chase Elliott finish 8th, which is really good because he really gets those playoff points. Austin Dillon finishes 20th. And Kyle Larson finishes 37th. And the only reason Kyle Larson finished 37th is because he wrecked. And there was something about his car this week that just didn't look right. He wrecked, had an accident at the end of stage 1 where he was driving, he fishtailed, he tried to straighten up his car, and then all of a sudden his car just slams into the wall. He comes down off the wall, and then Chase Briscoe, who drives the number 14 car, I believe is for Stewart Haas Racing, hits him and spins his car. So Kyle Larson finishes 37th. So I hope this coming week, this Sunday, in Watkins Glen, Kyle Larson can regain his composure, and he can do better in the championship, because I looked at the stats, and Larson's never been real good in Atlanta. He seems to always get in wrecks, but that's the only track he's always had trouble with. So let's hope he can bounce back, and let's hope some of these other drivers do good. I want to see them all do somewhat decent. You guys know the ones that I like, so we'll go from there. So now we're going to move into what we're listening to. And y'all, I'm excited about it this week because we're getting closer and closer to the big days that I talked about with the concerts coming up. And this week, who we're listening to is Breaking Benjimen. And I love this group, y'all. They're definitely a top 10 group for me. Their style is hard rock, post-grunge, and alternative metal. They're from Barr, Pennsylvania. They formed in 1999. I actually found out of it. They actually came out with their debut album in 2002. I didn't find out about them until about 03, 04. Their debut album was Saturate. They've had 6 studio albums. In fact, they're actually working on their 7th one. And it should be out sometime within a year. They're writing it, recording it. It should be ready within a year. They've had 23 singles, 17 music videos. It says 2 compilation albums, but that's because their greatest hits album is a 2-disc album. My favorite album from them is Dear Agony. You can just hear the emotion in Ben's voice in every song. The music's good, the drums, the guitar, everything is just good with that. They're touring with Stained, Daughtry, and Lakeview, which I'm lucky enough to go see them and blessed enough to go see them next week. See this tour. So I'm going to definitely do a video about the tour and what songs we're listening to this week. And I know when we first started doing this, I said I was going to do one song, but here lately, a lot of these songs have been good. So what songs are we listening to this week? I want you guys to listen to Dear Agony, Give Me a Sign, and What Lies Beneath. Those are 3 of my favorite songs. In fact, Give Me a Sign is actually my favorite song from them. But listen to Dear Agony, Give Me a Sign, and What Lies Beneath. And if you really feel adventurous, go listen to the Dear Agony album. It's a great album. If you like hard rock and all that, listen to that album. It's absolutely fantastic. All their stuff is good. And for motivation this week, I just want you to know that you can do anything. You can do hard things, because the hard things are what shape you. And you don't look in the past, because the past is what shaped you. The future's what's making you. The past is what made you. Yeah, I said that right. So just don't be afraid. Don't live your life afraid. And do the hard things, because you can do hard things. And just look at the good in every day and find the good in every day. And smile, because smiling's contagious, y'all. So that's about all I've got for this week. Before I go, I just want you guys to, if you haven't yet, like the channel, like this video, comment on this video, and share the video with your family and friends, because the more you guys like the video and share it, the better my channel does. So I want to thank you guys for going the distance with me this week. We're going to come back next week with some more sports news. We're going to do the NFL Week 3 predictions. We're going to do the Week 2 scores. We're going to go into some college football. We're going to do a What We're Listening To segment and more motivation. So you guys have a good weekend, and God bless.